Hey everyone, welcome back. We talk a lot about natural remedies and how to live well after 50. And today we're looking into something that you might already have in your bathroom cabinet. Castor oil. Turns out this age-old remedy might be more than just an old wives' tale, especially for us.
Right.
So I'm curious, what's the deal with castor oil? Is it really a wonder cure or is that just hype?
Well, let's just say castor oil has been used for centuries for a reason. And, modern research is starting to validate some of those traditional uses, especially when it comes to some common concerns we face as we age.
Okay, so let's break it down. What exactly castor oils?
So castor oil comes from the seeds of the castor bean plant. And it's been used for everything from skin conditions to, well, let's just say keeping things moving smoothly in the digestion department.
Interesting. So what makes it so special for those of us over 50?
It's all about a unique compound in castor oil called ricinoleic acid. This fatty acid has some impressive properties, including being a powerful anti-inflammatory.
So for our listeners dealing with those aches and pains, especially from arthritis, could castor oil offer some relief?
There's actually promising research to suggest just that. For example, a study in the FA subjournal found that applying castor oil packs directly to the knees significantly reduced pain in people with osteoarthritis.
That's good news. Many of us can relate to those creaky knees. Now, what about sleep? Getting a good night's rest can become a bit more challenging as we age. Can castor oil help with that too?
It might. Castor oil is known for its calming and soothing properties. When applied topically, it can actually promote relaxation and potentially improve sleep quality.
Topically meaning directly on the skin.
Exactly. Some people find relief from massaging a bit of castor oil into their scalp before bed, while others prefer to rub it on the soles of their feet. And there's actually some science behind this. The Journal of Ethnopharmacology has published research highlighting castor oil's mild sedative effects.
That's fascinating. It seems like there's more to castor oil than meets the eye. Now let's talk about another common issue. Digestion. Let's be honest, things aren't always as regular as they used to be. Could castor oil be helpful there?
Yes, absolutely. Castor oil is a natural laxative. It stimulates the muscles in the intestines, helping to, shall we say, encourage things along.
It's like a gentle nudge for the digestive system.
You could say that, but as with anything, you need to be mindful of the dosage. Too much castor oil can lead to unwanted side effects like cramping and diarrhea.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's always best to start slow and see how your body reacts. And speaking of changes, as we get older, our skin definitely doesn't get any younger. Is there any chance castor oil can help with that?
It might surprise you, but yes, castor oil is rich in those beneficial fatty acids, which makes it an excellent moisturizer. Keeping your skin hydrated and supple can go a long way in reducing those fine lines and wrinkles that we all know too well.
So it's like a natural anti-aging secret weapon.
Well, let's not call it a miracle cure, but it can definitely support healthy skin as we age. There's research in the Journal of Cosmetic Science that backs up its benefits for skin texture and elasticity.
I'm hearing a lot about how castor oil might be a good addition to our over 50 routines. Now, one last thing I wanted to touch on. Many of our listeners talk about struggling with poor circulation, particularly in their hands and feet. Could castor oil make a difference there?
It's possible. Castor oil is known for its warming effect when applied topically, and that warmth can actually help dilate blood vessels and potentially improve blood flow. In fact, there's a study in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine where they found that castor oil packs increased blood flow significantly.
Wow, it seems like castor oil could potentially help with so many common concerns we experience as we age, from sleep and joint pain to digestion, skin health, and even circulation.
It really is versatile, but like any natural remedy, it's essential to use it wisely and safely.
That's a great point. We've covered a lot about the potential benefits, but what about the precautions? What do we need to be aware of when using castor oil?
You're absolutely right. Even natural remedies can have side effects, and castor oil is no exception. It's all about being informed and using it responsibly.
So let's talk about those precautions. What are the key things our listeners should keep in mind?
First things first, you always want to make sure you're using high-quality castor oil from a reputable source. Look for organic, cold-pressed castor oil. It's the purest form and hasn't been mixed with other ingredients that could irritate your skin or cause allergic reactions.
That makes perfect sense. Now, what about allergies? Is there any way to test for sensitivity before using castor oil more liberally?
Absolutely. It's always a good idea to do a patch test, especially if you have sensitive skin. Just apply a tiny bit of castor oil to a small area like the inside of your wrist and wait 24 hours. If you don't see any redness, itching, or irritation, you should be good to go.
That's a great tip. And what about those of us who are taking medications? Could there be any interactions with castor oil?
That's a smart question, and it's definitely something to discuss with your doctor. Castor oil can interact with certain medications, so it's crucial to make sure it's safe to use alongside anything else you're taking.
Great advice. Now, we talked a lot about using castor oil topically, but you also mentioned it can be taken orally as a laxative. Are there any specific safety concerns with that?
Yes, definitely. While castor oil can be effective for constipation, it's super important to use it sparingly and under the guidance of a healthcare professional. They can advise you on the right dosage. Taking too much can lead to digestive upset like cramping and diarrhea, which nobody wants.
I imagine overuse could also lead to dependency.
You're exactly right. If you rely on castor oil for regular bowel movements, your digestive system might become dependent on it, which could lead to chronic constipation when you stop using it. It's much better to focus on a healthy diet with plenty of fiber and water to keep things moving naturally.
Those are all excellent points. Now, are there any other potential side effects people should be aware of?
There are a couple other things to keep in mind. Some people are sensitive to the smell of castor oil. Inhaling its fumes, especially when heated, can cause respiratory discomfort.
So good ventilation is key.
Exactly. And lastly, remember that using castor oil as a laxative for a long time can deplete your body of electrolytes. So staying hydrated and replenishing those electrolytes is important if you're using it regularly.
This is all such helpful information. It's great to understand both the potential benefits and the risks so we can make informed decisions about our health.
I completely agree. Knowledge is power when it comes to our well-being.
Speaking of knowledge, you mentioned hearing real-life stories about people using castor oil. What have you learned from those experiences?
It's been fascinating to hear how people have incorporated castor oil into their lives. Some folks swear by it for joint pain relief and report significant improvements after applying it to their knees or other achy areas. Others have noticed positive changes in their skin, finding it softer and more hydrated.
That's encouraging. But I imagine not everyone has a positive experience, right?
That's true. As with any remedy, responses can vary. I've also heard from people who experienced mild skin irritation after using castor oil, but a simple solution is often diluting it with a carrier oil like coconut oil, which usually resolves that issue.
So it's a good reminder that what works for one person might not work for another, and it's always best to start slowly and pay attention to how your body responds.
Exactly. And of course, having a conversation with your doctor is always a wise step before starting any new treatment, even a natural one like castor oil.
All this information has been incredibly helpful. It gives our listeners a balanced perspective on castor oil and its potential. Now, before we wrap up, I'd love to hear your final thoughts on how our listeners can incorporate castor oil into their lives safely and effectively. What are your top recommendations?
I'm happy to share some tips. As we've discussed, choosing a high-quality oil is crucial. Look for that organic, cold-pressed castor oil from a reputable brand.
What about storage? Does castor oil require any special care?
To prevent it from going rancid, it's best to store castor oil in a cool, dark place. A tightly sealed glass bottle is ideal.
Great advice. Now let's talk about application methods. What are some of the best ways to use castor oil topically?
For skincare, you can apply a small amount directly to your face or body after cleansing. You can also add a few drops to your favorite moisturizer or serum. If you're using it on your hair, try massaging it into your scalp and leave it on for a few hours or even overnight before shampooing.
What about for joint pain? We know a lot of our listeners are looking for natural ways to ease those aches and pains.
Castor oil packs are a popular and effective method for targeting joint pain. Simply soak a cloth in warm castor oil, apply it to the affected area, cover it with plastic wrap, and then apply a heating pad or hot water bottle for 30 to 60 minutes. It can be very soothing.
That sounds incredibly relaxing. What about oral use for constipation? Any tips there?
If you're considering using castor oil orally, please talk to your doctor first to determine the appropriate dosage and frequency. They can help you weigh the potential benefits and risks and make sure it's safe for you.
Sound advice. Now, I know you have one more important reminder for our listeners about finding reliable information. It's so important, especially these days when there's so much information out there.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. It's crucial to be discerning about the information you come across online. While there are many helpful resources available, there's also a lot of misinformation. Always double-check the source of the information and look for evidence-based research to support any claims you see.
That's an excellent point. It's easy to get caught up in hype, but our health is too precious to take chances with.
Absolutely. Always prioritize credible sources and consult your healthcare provider if you have any questions or concerns. They're your best resource for personalized guidance.
It's amazing how something like castor oil, which has been around for centuries, is now being backed by science for so many things we experience as we get older.
I know, right? It really highlights the value of both traditional wisdom and modern research. It's like these two worlds are coming together to support our well-being in this chapter of life.
I love that. It's all about finding what works for you and empowering yourself with knowledge. And speaking of knowledge, I wanted to circle back to the research we talked about earlier. You mentioned a study where castor oil packs increased blood flow. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Absolutely. This study published in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine focused on the use of castor oil packs to improve circulation. They found that applying these warm packs to the abdomen for a certain period actually increased blood flow throughout the body. It's thought that the ricinoleic acid in castor oil helps to dilate blood vessels, promoting better circulation.
That's really interesting. So it's not just about applying it directly to achy joints or areas with poor circulation. The effects can be more widespread.
Exactly. And this is just one example of the research that's being done on castor oil. There's growing interest in its potential to address a variety of health concerns, and I'm excited to see what future studies reveal.
Me too. It's fascinating to see how something so simple can have such a profound impact. Now, before we wrap up, I want to make sure our listeners know where they can find reliable information about castor oil and other natural remedies.
That's so important. As we discussed earlier, it's crucial to be discerning about the information you come across. Stick to reputable sources like medical journals, trusted health websites, and of course, your healthcare provider. They can give you personalized advice based on your individual needs and health history.
Absolutely. And remember, we're here to support you on your journey to living well after 50. We're a community, and we're all in this together.
That's right. We're all about empowering each other to live our best lives, no matter our age.
Speaking of community, if you enjoy this conversation about castor oil and want to learn more about natural ways to support your well-being, be sure to subscribe to our Living Well After 50 newsletter. You'll find a link in the episode description.
And please share this episode with your friends and family who might benefit from this information. Let's spread the word about the power of natural remedies and support each other on this amazing journey of aging gracefully.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us on this exploration of castor oil. We hope you feel informed and inspired to take charge of your health.
Here's to living well after 50.
Cheers to that. And remember, age is just a number. With a little knowledge and self-care, we can all thrive in this chapter of life. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.